thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Oilers win on Saturday night versus the Panthers. NFL weekend is wild. Who's your choice for goalie in Canada's net at the Olympics? Plus, Chip Kelly got fired. Good. And the Raptors are rock and rolla right now. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. You've already met part of the cast. Let's meet the rest. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440, online at iHeartRadio, sports1440.ca, Radio Player Canada. After the show, Apple and Spotify podcast, and we tweet it out on X just for you. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at jfenwick04. I think that was the year he was born. Okay. Text or call us, 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. We're going to talk about the Oilers. They need a big forward and probably a goalie. What's the primary target? We're going to talk about that today. NFL weekend, as we mentioned. We've got an update from the rink via Jason Krueger coming up in Two Shakes of a Lamb's Tail. Nuge out there, and Kasperi Kapanen, and the NBA, of course, full of news. Rachel Krychak will join us at 12:40 today. We will talk about the Oilers and their priorities and their road trip where they went 3-3-1. We'll talk to Jason Krueger at 1:20 about Nuge and more as the Oilers get ready for a kind of a cool-down period here as far as the schedule is concerned. Not quite as busy and more time to practice and maybe get some of those injured players back. Declinations with Declan coming up at 1:40 today. And right now it's time for the introductions. Little known fact, he's the reason they have speed bumps at the mall. He's a wild and crazy driver. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
I'm not that crazy. I
Yeah.
get crazy when I want to, though.
Do you believe in the Fenwick metric?
Yeah, I do. I think we've talked about this.
Okay, because I'm going to bring up Fenwick and Corsi and expected goals in the next little while, and I just want to make sure where everybody's
You've got someone in your corner.
allegiance is
for
lie.
Fenwick.
Yeah, you don't like the expected goals?
I don't know enough about expected
Not a
goals
fan
to-
of Corsi,
Well, it's just Fenwick light.
right? Well, that's true. You're absolutely right. Okay, he is a former boxer who lost his most famous bout with a container of oatmeal. And I was here watching it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger.
Wow.
Declan Krueger.
It was the betting odds. It was Declan minus 25,000. It was a tune-up fight, really. Really what this was Tyson versus Buster Douglas in Tokyo on my way to fighting Evander Holyfield. And in the fourth round, that oatmeal came out there and chinned me bad. Never saw it coming.
Your reaction was approximately the funniest thing I've seen in 45 years of radio.
I don't want to make this a woe is me start to the show, but I really do kind of revert to, I don't think people understand how much of a nuisance that was for me. And it was also just one of those things. It was like, sometimes you have a bad day and the straw breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, no, true.
Yeah.
True. And you also have to understand that
it's still dirty.
Oh, sure. No, I get it. You'll never clean it again. It's done. It's toast. You'll never go back.
I'm giving it away as a Christmas present.
But here's the thing to remember, and this is always the case. When people really like somebody or love them or value them as a friend or a coworker, and they do something like this, it makes you giggle a little bit because you have this perception of them, this high degree of respect. And when they tumble and fall down the stairs, there's a certain amount of humor to it. And so your oatmeal story endears you to me and to the entire audience. That's a fact.
Yeah. I think half of it was this guy is a little crybaby. Why would I listen
No,
to this guy?
there was some big
Half-
baby energy, but
Yeah.
I didn't even mention that.
Half of it
Yeah.
was this guy's a little crybaby. Why would I listen? Half of it was like, you know what? This kid's pretty entertaining.
No, I think it's all entertaining. It was pretty
All right.
clear that you were overreacting and you knew it and you didn't care. But you're a rational human being. You're capable of deep thought and you have great self-awareness. The fact that you still did that is just damn funny. It's
Wow.
okay to be funny, even if you're just mad about it. Okay, lots to talk about. Oilers won on Saturday. I would venture a guess that there was some real money on the line to win that game. I believe that. I think that the Edmonton Oilers played like that game mattered a lot. Florida did too. And the outcome was I don't want to say never in doubt, but when you're getting goals from the angles the Oilers were getting, they're getting enough luck that they probably win that game. And there was some a little bit nastiness. I thought Clattenburg played very well for a first game. He only played like 6 minutes. I really liked Matt Savoy's game. Matt Savoy is really coming into his own. I wrote today at The Athletic that I do think, based on the Oilers' dump and chase or place and chase or tip and chase style that they've changed to, they're going to need a bigger winger. And I listed off 4 in the article at The Athletic. But I did say that I feel like Podkolzin, Savoy, Zach Hyman, and a couple of others probably can fit that bill. Maybe Kasperi Kapanen. The one that I'm worried about is Andrew Mangiapane. He's looked vanilla this year, and I don't think he's playing well in the Oilers system that they have. Now, it's unfortunate because Stan Mullman signs him in the summer, and then they come to fall, and they're kind of changing the way they do business. That said, he's got a little bit of time here to recover and to move on. There's 2 things in the NFL I want to talk about, but I don't want to hog the NFL conversation because I'm not as knowledgeable as my 2 friends here. But I just want to say that the Eagles did me dirty by losing to the Dallas Cowboys the way they did. And I'm almost giddy with happiness that Chip Kelly got fired, because he's the reason that Howie Roseman got fired or got demoted by the Eagles for a time. And Howie Roseman is the smartest man in football. So what did you take away from the NFL weekend? I know your Bills lost, and we get a chance to talk about that. You can include that in the conversation if you wish.
For me personally, before I let Josh jump in as well, the LA Rams are the best team in the NFC. That is number 1 takeaway. And that's number 1 takeaway considering there's a pretty huge storyline with Kansas City and Indianapolis. The Los Angeles Rams, they beat Tampa Bay. They handled them. It's not even close. And I get Tampa obviously went to the backup quarterback, and they have had a plethora of injuries at those skill positions. Like, Tampa is not what they were when they started the season 5-1. But the LA Rams, for my money, have separated themselves from the rest of the NFC. And I want to give a lot of credit as well to the Philadelphia Eagles, because they obviously went in there and played a tough, hard-fought divisional game, but they couldn't get it done. And it's about results, right? Like, it is a results-driven league, and Dallas showed that those divisional games are tough. And Dallas showed that, like Dak Prescott, what did he have? 350 yards through the air.
Yeah.
Like, he showed these type of games can happen. And I give credit to what the Eagles have built. And they obviously beat LA earlier in the season, but the Rams right now, preeminent team in the NFC. And then the other storyline, the Kansas City Chiefs, not quite dead just yet, but it was 20-9 in the 4th quarter. All you needed was a couple first downs, and that game's over.
Yeah.
And the Colts couldn't manage it.
It's the Taylor Swift magic.
And there was no Jonathan Taylor magic.
No. But like, it was such a weird weekend. Josh, what are you thinking about the NFL?
I'm in the same boat as Declan. The Rams are the best in the NFC, at least by far, probably the league in my opinion. But I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. Also, Shadur Sanders shows up, beats the Raiders.
Is he quarterback number 50 since?
No, he's quarterback number, I believe it was 45.
I thought it was 49.
I did too.
See, we've seen so many different starting quarterbacks.
49 before him, and then he'd be.
I thought he was number 50. I thought Dylan Gabriel was number 49.
Me too.
Oh, maybe he is 50 since 99.
Yeah.
But then, so.
Am I overmodulating?
Go ahead.
I don't know.
Go ahead and talk quickly. Just say anything.
Say anything.
All right, we can get you down a little.
All right, thank you. Go ahead. Sorry, Josh.
So Shadur Sanders, fun fact, is the first Browns rookie quarterback to win his debut start since Eric Zaire in 1995.
Holy cow! I knew it was a
30
long time
years
ago.
since a rookie quarterback
Yeah.
has won their debut for the Browns. So shout out to him on that against the Raiders, who he really wanted to. He was very open about wanting to go to while he was still at Buffalo, or not Buffalo. They were the Buffalo, Colorado Buffaloes. My bad.
See you, Buffs.
And so they pass on him with every pick, and then he goes into their house and he beats them.
Love it.
Also, the Browns, 10 sacks. Myles Garrett,
Nice.
possible MVP.
Yeah, on a team like this is why the trade deadline should be later.
Mm-hmm.
Because he should. This is a waste.
No.
This
He
is a
knew
waste.
what he was getting into. He asked to be traded, and then they threw how much money did they throw at him?
A lot.
$170 million and $80 million. He made his decision.
This is a waste.
Myles Garrett, it is time to live with your decision. You could have gone anywhere.
This
he didn't.
is a waste of a great season. Send him
4-year, $160 million contract.
Send him to the Eagles today.
Lowetide, you're absolutely right. It is a waste, but he made his decision. He made his bed. Now you get to lie in it.
I forgot to mention this. Jason Greger tweeted this out. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins skating in the main group today, rotating with Savoy on McDavid's line. Could see him in the next few games. Kapanen also skating, rotating on the third line. Oilers play tomorrow and then not until Saturday, so it gives him a lot of time to rest. And we thank Jason, and he'll be on the radio at 1:20 with us, and then 2 o'clock this afternoon. Mentioned the Raptors at the top of the show. They're absolute fire. Brandon mentioned it in the sports update. NBA is such an interesting league. Oh my God. If the NHL spent an hour figuring out the magic of the NBA constantly being in movement, in motion, and something shocking and mind-blowing occurring all the time, the NHL would be a far more popular sport. Aside from the Raptors, what caught your eye in the last little while? I'll begin with you, Declan.
Well, I'll tell you this. What's about to catch my eye, not to not answer your question, my team's best player, Tyler Herro, coming back, set to make his season debut today. How about that? Big one for the Miami Heat.
That'll be a big difference maker for the Heat.
Well, they're playing Dallas,
will.
right? So, they're probably going to beat Dallas. Like, that Dallas team has a tendency to kind of collapse and beat themselves a little bit. I don't even want to say beat themselves. They just get beaten. But yeah, Tyler Herro's coming back. Listen, I give this credit as well. Josh said that the Raptors played like the 2007 Spurs, and I rolled my eye at him. I still think that's a little bit of a stretch, and I would agree, but they play team basketball.
You said you rolled your eye. Are you capable of rolling one eye and not the other?
Well, I have a lazy eye, right? So.
Oh, I'm sorry I brought it up.
But I said to the minutest of minute that it reminded me of that kind of ball movement because it's electric. It's one of the best motion offenses I've seen. And by the way, Paul Sir of Hoop City with Paul Sir every Saturday, he was like, it's not a bad comparison. I was like, thank you, Paul. I feel good when you say that.
So I want to skip over to the NFL because the Bengals apparently are going to start Joe Burrow in week 13. How do you feel about that?
I still kind of wish they would just punt on the season, but you know what? It's Thanksgiving, so yeah, it'll be fun. They're playing the Ravens in the prime time slot, the night game.
Yep.
So
this is the thing. Like, it's a huge prime time slot, and there's going to be like 40 million eyes on the game. So I get it, but you're 3-8. Like, what's the point?
You don't need to bring
your
Burrow
defense
back.
has given up 360 points this year.
Maybe they're nervous.
Like,
really bad.
What's the point?
It's really bad. So I'm excited to watch Joe Burrow play football. However,
Yeah, I get it.
I don't like the fact that they're bringing him in.
The Thanksgiving cheer has already begun. Chip Kelly fired by the Raiders. I can't tell you how happy I am. He ruined the Eagles. He did it dummy. He did it dummy. He said, we're going to come in here and we're going to score quick. And that way we can have our defense on the field all damn night. That's what he did. And the Eagles ownership demoted Howie Roseman for a time because of Chip damn Kelly. So I'm sorry he lost his job. I never like to see people lose their job, but I'm sorry not. Does that sound bitter?
A little bit. Like,
Okay.
that was how many years ago?
Don't care. Don't care.
Just a bitter
Don't
old
care.
man.
I'm still mad that Pepper went up in 2005.
Hey, I'll tell you this, man. He never should have left Ohio State. He had it made there as the OC. There are worse jobs in football than offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
No. Anyway, I feel better expressing that because, it's not a good look for me, like petty, you could say.
Preying
But
on a man's downfall.
Well, it's sort of like, at least I'm honest about that. Everything else I'm lying about, but that one I'm honest about. Okay, we have Rachel Krychak coming up at 12:40 today. We are going to talk about this. We're going to talk specifically about the goaltending and whether there's a need for a big power, a physical forward to play this new style that they're just enamored with. It is not efficient. The Fenwicks don't love it. But we're going to talk about that with Rachel. We'll also talk about the Olympic goalie with Rachel, and I'll ask you. You can text me anytime now, and we'll talk about that. And Jason Gregor coming up at 1:20. We'll talk a lot about those Edmonton Oilers and why Nuge is on the ice and possibly returning sooner. We'll find out. Okay, it is 12:16. Rumors straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter watches the big game.
Go deep! What you watching, Mr.
Short blast. That was flirting with disaster from Krueger, but it stays on the surface. And here's pulls it from Draisaitl. Scores over the right shoulder of Sergei Bobrovsky. And it's 4-1 Edmonton. Another bad angle goal. And that's going to do it for Sergei Bobrovsky. Daniil Tarasev is coming into this game.
Front of the net. Here's a good chance for Kladberg. Thinks about making the pass over to Tomasik for the one-timer, but elects to
We go inside, 3 minutes to play. At center, Hill fired in deep. Verhaeghe going to the bench. It's Tarasov. Paul Maurice wasting no time. The net is empty. And Connor McDavid's going to score.
It's popping the Pistons. Good job here in the wall. Hard play on the wall. One good steal by McDavid. Strong stick. Empty net. Instead of trying to fire it for
Charging Matt Savoy, defended by Balenskis. Tied at 1. Lundell from Samoskevich at 6:30. Here's Bouchard, wide open. Wilson scores again. Hard charging Matt Savoy, defended by Balenskis. Tied at 1. Lundell from Samoskevich at 6:30. Here's Bouchard, wide open. Wilson scores again. Hard charging Matt Savoy, defended by Balenskis. Tied at 1. Lundell from Samoskevich at 6:30. Here's Bouchard, wide open. Wilson scores again. Hard charging Matt Savoy, defended by Balenskis. Tied at 1. Lundell from Samoskevich.
in the other conference. Detroit has only lost 2. Oh, good play by Luka. Here he goes. What a play! Showtime! Oh, Luka. Showtime. In the other conference, Detroit has only lost 2. Oh, good play by Luka. The other way. Ace Bailey. He's finally starting to figure it out. Let's just put it that way. 3-point in the corner. No. LeBron now coming one-on-one with a head of steam. LeBron James.
Pressure. And they go to Sexton out of the backfield. He's got 2 tight ends blocking on the outside. He's got room. He bursts inside Raiders territory. 1 man to beat. He won't be caught. Touchdown, Sampson. 66 yards.
I'm going to keep watching that. There's Gibbs on first down. Jahmyr Gibbs across midfield. 1 man to beat. Inside the 20, the 10. Touchdown on the first play from scrimmage. In overtime. Remember, the Giants will have an opportunity
Gibbs takes it 69 yards. And that's why I mentioned Dexter Lawrence.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. That was such a great song by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It's from the movie FM, by the way. For those of you who have a long memory or just like hearing about trivia that you don't care about, this is ground zero for that kind of content. It's time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. Jason Krueger had this earlier today as he was at practice. RNH is skating in the main group, rotating in with Savoy on the McDavid line. And then Kapanen also skating on the third line. The Oilers obviously play tomorrow and then not till Saturday. So who knows when we'll see them, but they're getting closer. And that's important because the Roslovic emergence, along with the Savoy progression and the Hyman becoming active, means that Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen will slide into a deeper group. And some of those cats are going to slide down the road. I think Mangiapane and Trent Frederick, although Frederick I thought played pretty well on the weekend, maybe not him, but I think some of the youngsters obviously are going to be playing less and on depth lines, but the team itself should be far more capable. And they certainly looked good on Saturday night against Florida Panthers. They looked beyond engaged. They looked inspired. They looked like that game meant a lot, and I know it did. And flowers for Stuart Skinner, who had a great game. And I think that there's so much online rage about Stuart Skinner that I just think we miss the mark a lot when it comes to describing the young man, the young goaltender. He is not having a terrific year. He had a very good night. And the fair play in all of us should allow for that to be, at least conversed today. Stuart Skinner had a good game. The goaltending seems to be coming around. The defense seems to be coming around. And one of the ways that we can kind of look at that and monitor it is month to month. Lots of people were down on Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm in October. And their 5-on-5 goal share was 2 goals for and 10 against, so 17%. But their expected goal share was 56%. And that tells you, as time goes on, it doesn't run on time. It's not like the German trains or the Swiss watches, but regression does occur. And now in November, there are 10 goals for and 5 against, 67% goal share. And oh, by the way, their expected goal share is just over 50%. So they're being over-rewarded now for performance. But the overall is coming into view for the pairing. I still have a little bit of trepidation about Nurse Wallman. I worry about Wallman's injuries. That's a concern. With Nurse, one of the players that he plays well with, Troy Stetcher, is now in Toronto. So not sure what to do there. Kulak continues to struggle, but I think they're coming out of it, and I think they're figuring out this stretch pass thing a little better. I noticed a little nuance in the game on Saturday night where instead of just tipping it in, there was an opportunity for the right winger along the wall to grab the puck, obviously not in flight, standing on his skates around center, but then a nice little tip pass to the center who was roaring through. That play was used effectively by Craig McTavish in the 2006 playoffs against multiple teams. And perhaps we're seeing a wrinkle there from Chris Knobloch and his staff, including Paul McFarland. That's just my read. You may have others. Other people will extrapolate that, but that's sort of where I am with how the Oilers are looking. Encouraging if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan with the top pairing. Now they've got to get the rest of it going. I have a question for you, Josh.
I have an answer for you, Lowetide.
By the way, you just came in, right?
I did. I was talking to young Sam, the intern, about the work he's doing. And
so the timing was perfect because I had planned on doing this, but then I was going to skip over it and perhaps do it yesterday or tomorrow or another day, maybe later in the show. But so I'm going to talk to Rachel Krychak at 12:40. One of the things I'm bringing up is the Calgary Flames, who are god awful.
Yep.
But they've won 3 in a row.
They have won 3 in a row, and they've scored 6 in 2 of them.
So I have, for a long time, argued with you, Jack-O-Lanterns, yourself, and young Declan, whose age is not public, although Jack Roslovic is wearing number 28. And my belief is the Calgary Flames should rebuild. They should trade the veterans and get a high draft pick this and maybe next year, and then build that way. Now, Craig Conroy's never going to do that, and I understand that. But are you right now? You've got a team that's basically in last in the Pacific, I think, but they've won 3 in a row. Are you feeling this? Is this the best way? Is winning and almost making the playoffs and getting the number 19 pick this year? Is that the road to the 2029 Stanley Cup? I ask you, Josh Fenwick.
Got to be competitive. Got to be competitive. That being said, just tanking to get a high draft pick or something is not the be all end all it used to be in sports.
Don't always work out.
Doesn't always work out. And honestly, if I watch my team tank, and I'm like, it's okay because they're doing this for Gavin McKenna, and then they end up with the 6th overall pick, even though they had the best odds.
Sure. Yeah.
And honestly, more soul crushing than just having the 19th pick and missing the playoffs by 2 points like we did last year. Miss the playoffs by a point like we did last year. I have serious problems with tanking because if they tank this season and they don't get Gavin McKenna, what the hell are they going to do?
Well, tank again until you get one.
Tank again until you get one.
No.
But what happens if you just tank and tank and tank for let's say 8 years before you get the first overall pick? The Oilers had 10 years of darkness. They had 4 number 1 overall picks.
Yeah. But you've got Craig Conroy. He's a pretty smart guy.
Are you calling the Oilers organization during the decade of darkness not smart?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Okay, Craig Conroy, smart guy. I think Huska needs to be out. I know he signed an extension. Maybe I don't like coaches that sign extensions because I also said Chris Knobloch should get fired, but Ryan Huska is not a good coach. So I think he should be gone.
See, I think you keep him because this is what you wanted. If you want to get the first overall pick, you keep the bad coach and you trade the good goalie.
No, we're not trading Dustin Wolf. I'm sorry.
In baseball, the Rangers of Texas have traded second baseman Marcus Semien to the Mets for Brandon Nimmo. That's a pretty big 1-for-1 deal. Cost-cutting measure for the Rangers. And I think a really good move for the Mets. We'll see. Nimmo's going to. I think he'll hit less in Texas, but the big news is Semien going to the Mets, who are obviously a hell of a lot closer to doing something in the postseason.
Mets need another bat with Pete Alonso leaving this offseason.
Think Alonso won't resign?
I don't think so. I think he's gone.
Do you think they should get Tucker, or do you think they should get Bellinger?
God, I'd probably go Tucker. I don't know, like Bellinger, bit of a resurgence, but I still don't know if it's all
Bellinger's older too, I believe, by quite some margin. So
I think you want a guy like Tucker. He's a good defender, right? I'm not out to lunch on that. He's a decent outfielder.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a center fielder, but
But he can maybe clean up a little bit of Juan Soto's mistakes or something like that.
Soto's going to DH soon. I mean, he's not a great fielder now.
He's a terrible fielder,
and he's mid-20s.
Yeah, he's not getting any better.
Yeah. LT, did you finish the last season of Only Murders in the Building yet from Robert? Yeah, I did. I was a little disappointed. I love the show. I love all the characters in the show, and I love the appearances of all these brilliant actors and actresses. But I was a little disappointed in the robot. And I'm sorry if that's a spoiler for anybody. But I thought it kind of got a little strange. Lowetide, the win over Florida, gave me hope for the season. It showed they can show up for a meaningful game. If they'd lost that game, I might have said that's it for the season, JR and Red Deer. I don't think they're going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I am not as confident in this year's team as I was in the last two seasons because there's going to be development now. I love Savoy. I want Ike Howard here, but that's going to take time. Savoy isn't a top six staple yet. He will be, but he's not now. He's not going to be on the top two lines, I think, when Nuge comes back. And Kapanen is a big, strong winger who can skate, and that's important for the Oilers' new system that they have. And so I think Savoy probably will spend some time on the third line, and we'll see how that goes, probably with Henrique, and we'll see how that goes. But I think you do have to build, and it was good to see them win, but how did they win? Well, Florida played well. Florida had dynamite chances, all kinds of chances, and Stuart Skinner played very well. So I think that I've said this before, I think the Edmonton Oilers will have a different goalie tandem for game one of the playoffs. I don't know who's going to start game one of the playoffs. Maybe it's Skinner, but I think they will have a different – I don't think Skinner-Pickard will be the goaltending tandem for game one of the 2026 playoffs. So I wouldn't give up hope on the Oilers. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't know where they're going to finish, but I wouldn't give up hope on the Oilers really anytime making the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the Stanley Cup, and I don't think they're going to make it to the final.
Lowetide, I couldn't agree more with this texter. I was wondering if we were going to get a chance to touch on it in the opening segment, because this game for me, like you look at what had happened on this road trip, hadn't been a great road trip, but they were 1-4 in their last 5. They'd obviously lost 3 before that. But of their last 6 games, the 2 games they won were Carolina and Florida in the last game of the roadie. Like that, those are huge spots. That Carolina team, a lot of people are very high on in the Eastern Conference. This Florida game, and don't get it misconstrued, I know how banged up Florida was, but this was a spot where you wanted to see them go out there and compete and get that win, and they did just that. Like, it was a win that for me personally gave me a lot of hope for what this Oilers team can be. Now, do I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup this year? Again, probably not. It's not looking great right now. Obviously, they only have 25 points, but the Pacific is very congested. I think Anaheim only leads with 29, so it's all right there. But this was a win that was more about how the players looked on the ice and what the system looked like. This was a game that you had to go out there and win for the mindset and the belief in the team, and they went out there and they did that.
See, I think it's okay to not win the Stanley Cup this year because you've already committed to Savoy and Howard, unless you trade Howard at the deadline, and maybe they will. So you've in a way you've taken a step back because you don't have as many veterans on the team.
I don't think they'll win the Stanley Cup this year anymore. They were my preseason pick. I had them coming out of the West. I had them beating Carolina in the Stanley Cup final. With what Dallas is playing very well as well. But with what Colorado's doing, I just think they would be most people's, leading candidate. But my point to what you just said, like, I don't know if I'm okay with saying this team can't be competing for Stanley Cups every year. Do I think there's a high probability that is going to be the reality with this team this year? I do, but I'm not really all in the camp of when you have Connor and Leon in their prime, it's fine to just take a year off and say, hey, we'll retool for next year. I don't love that.
Well, I don't either, but when you lose Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg to an offer sheet, and you have no young players on value contracts who can contribute in feature roles, which is the top 2 lines, the third line center, the top 2 pairings, and the starting goalie. And Skinner or somebody is going to be hit a lot more in goal next year. I think you did have to kind of, stop for gas. This is like the pickups of Savoy and Ike Howard are kind of like Gasoline Alley and Red Deer. You get going, and then you make sure that everybody's gone to the bathroom. And you make sure you got lots of gas in the tank, but you get to Red Deer and you wouldn't mind a cup of coffee. The kids have to go to the washroom, and what the hell will top up the gas? I think that's where the Oilers are. And maybe they can win the Stanley Cup with Savoy in a feature role, and maybe they can win a Stanley Cup with Savoy not in a feature role because they make it a trade at the deadline. Fine. But I don't think that is obvious that all of their cannons are not pointed in the same direction this year. they're that's what happened to the French in World War II. But Edmonton has a bunch of their cannons focused on winning the Stanley Cup. They're playing the hell out of McDavid and Draisaitl. Oh, and by the way, some of their assets are tied up in youth. They've got futures here. And so they're not all in like they have been in the past 2 years. And it might cost them a year. It might. And I think that's an acceptable price if Savoy and Howard are real. And I think they are. But that's my opinion.
What'd you make of Clattenburg in his
I thought
5
he
minutes
played
of
well.
ice time?
I thought he played well. He didn't try to do too much. He was an agitator. He had a couple of chances. He can skate well enough.
Got some shots off.
Yeah. So I think he did well. I don't know that when these people come back like Nuge and Kapanen, I suspect he'll get sent down. But I'll say this, that he did not look like he was overwhelmed by the moment. Much like Josh when he appeared first on our show.
Oh, Josh was overwhelmed by the moment.
He came in, Josh went into the corners. He dug out the puck. He after the game, he didn't go over and have the first chance at the meal that everybody put out. He did all the right things a rookie should, just like Clattenburg. All right, 12:36. Rachel Dory on the way from Metalytics and ESPN. We're going to talk about the Oilers, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Olympic team too. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
The heartbeat of sports. The fans. This is Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Driven by Wolf GMC Buick.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Get Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Skip the line and save big. Get 65% off reclining sofas when you buy the matching Love Seater chair. Plus, get up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. And buy more, save more. Get up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Mattresses are up to 40% off, and with every mattress purchase, you're entered for the chance to win a cruise. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Bring in the new year with a Canadian country legend. December 31st, in concert at the Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Brett Kissel. She drives me crazy. Multiple CCMA and Juno Award winner, platinum-selling recording artist, and top 10 hitmaker. Celebrate the new year in Alberta, country style. Bring your friends, your cowboy boots, and your party spirit for a night full of hits, celebration, and unforgettable memories. The countdown to 2026 starts with Brett Kissel live on stage. Get your tickets now at silenticecenter.com/events.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. At 1240, we're joined by Rachel Dory from Metalytics and ESPN. Rachel, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm watching the Edmonton Oilers play pretty well against Florida, but overall they've got a 42% goal share at 5-on-5, 50% a year ago. Goals against up to 301 from 252 year over year. We know there's a goalie problem, but how long can Stan Bowman run with this pairing before he maybe has to make a move?
Okay, so I mean, I don't think goaltending is the Oilers' biggest issue. It's certainly an issue, and it definitely exacerbates the other issues because goaltending can cover up. If you have a good goalie, you can cover up a lot of mistakes, right? And right now, the Oilers aren't covering up a lot of mistakes, and that's partially because, number one, they aren't playing very well, but number two, they're getting basically the goaltending that, based on the money puck data, they're expected to be getting. And I went and I looked. No team has ever won the Stanley Cup, at least from what I could find, getting the goaltending they were expected to get. Usually it's you're getting goaltending very much better than you're expected to be getting. And so the Oilers are kind of in a pickle there. And at what point does he do something? I mean, if he thinks that it's a cup year, which you have McDavid and Draisaitl, so I feel like every year is that year. This is an issue we constantly litigate and revisit, and it never seems like something gets done. So for my mind, it's well past the time that he does something. But you also have to have an eye for, he can't only address the goaltending. The rest of the team has to play better as well. Like, you can't have an expected goal share below 50% and expected to be successful in the playoffs. That you're not going anywhere with that, whether you have great goaltending or not.
Zach Hyman is back, playing with his usual energy, but he does no goals. It's early. How concerned should the Oilers be about Hyman returning to goal scoring after that injury? Because sometimes those around the hand can impact the ability to put the puck in the net.
Well, I think it depends. Number one, you have to lower your expectations. Zach Hyman is a fantastic hockey player. He is not a 50-goal scorer. That's not somebody that's going to score 50, even 40 goals a year. That's not realistic. And his contract matches that. So I think how soon or how concerned should Oilers fans be? Well, if he's tracking to be a 30 to 35 goal scorer, you're really happy, especially with what his contract is. And right now he's doing a lot of things that bring the value of a 30 to 35 goal scorer. He's snake bitten a little bit, and I'm not necessarily concerned about that. But I think any grandiose expectation that he's going to return to be a 45 plus goal guy is just wildly unrealistic. And might he have one of or two of those seasons for the rest of his career? He may, but it's more likely that he doesn't. And if he does, then I'm sure the Oilers will be thrilled about it. But I think generally speaking, the expectation needs to be closer to, I would say, 30 to 32 goals than it is 42 to 45 goals. And I'm not necessarily worried that Hyman would return to 30 plus goal form. Then I would be concerned if it was much more than that.
I know Hyman would fit better with this. I do not like the stretch pass and the dump and chase that the Oilers are playing with Knobloch and now Paul McFarland. I think it's inefficient compared to the transporting the puck over the line and gaining possession into the zone. It's provably superior if you do that. And I wonder, your opinion on that. Is there a wrinkle in the dump and chase or place and chase or tip and chase that allows the Oilers management and coaching staff to think that this is somehow superior to transporting the puck across the line?
I mean, there's no scenario where the dump and chase is over a long period of time more effective than carrying the puck in. Like we've seen time and time again, the best teams in the NHL, the teams that are most effective are teams that can create off the rush, Colorado being one of them. Yeah. And they are far and away the best team in the NHL this year. It is not close. And so when you look at it, I mean, when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice, there is legitimately zero reason to be dumping the puck, and you should never be ceding possession when you have those two on the ice. Now, with somebody like Zach Hyman, who's a dogged forechecker, Evander Kane's a pretty good forechecker as well. If you get the puck, say, close enough to the opposing blue line, and you do a cross ice dump and you throw it in the opposite corner, and that forward, on the weak side, is streaking in full steam ahead, you have the opportunity to make the D turn, to potentially win that race to the puck and create something. However, you immediately take away any possibility of creating any level of offense off the rush, and you thwart that opportunity instead of trying to make the other team stop you from doing that. So I don't necessarily see why they're dumping the puck in. Generally speaking, if a team goes to the dump and chase, it's because they're less skilled. And in the Oilers' case, outside of the top two lines, yeah, they don't have elite third and fourth lines, but they still have the skill on those lines to not play a dump and chase kind of game. And so for me, I really don't understand why they've gone to this. And specifically, like if McDavid and Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman are on the ice, they're all plenty skilled enough to be carrying the puck and trying to generate off the rush.
Yeah, and they've been not the same team off the rush this year in terms of chances. So your point is well made. You know, if they're running Draisaitl and McDavid separately and Nuge on a separate line, then the dump and chase should be almost non-existent. They're not there right now because of all the injuries. Do you think Bowman needs to get a wiggle on here? Like we talked about the goaltending. I could make a case that if you're going to play that game, you need to. I don't know how many guys they have on this group, like the wingers who would be good at like moving the puck along the wall. Like Leon Draisaitl can do it, Podkolzin can contribute, but it's not like it's one of those teams that is going to do what the Sedins did for 15 years, which is own the puck along the wall.
Yeah, the Oilers need to do something. Every year that you have those two is a contention year, and the fact that your captain just upped for probably half of market value, maybe a little more than half, there is no excuse to not be going for it, and the sooner you address it, the better. Do I think the Oilers are going to make the playoffs? I do. They could certainly make their lives a lot easier. But that's the thing. When you look at it, Stan Bowman should get a move in. And I'm not saying do something brash and go crazy, but there's enough rumors out there that the Oilers should be involved in. Like if the rumors about Nashville pretty much being available for business, Stan Bowman should be calling Barry Trotz every single day for UC Saros. It should basically he should be having a daily check-in with Barry Trotz for him, because that player could be a mask for a lot of the Oilers' issues. But then you also have a scenario where you need guys like Evan Bouchard has really turned it around. He's been much, much better than he was at the beginning of the season. And you need other guys who can also move the puck a little bit better. And that will help not play the dump and chase kind of game. So, I mean, there are areas of weakness that I do not think the Oilers should be hesitant to address. And there's no reason to really wait. You're already playing in a condensed schedule because of the Olympics. So when you look at it, yes, you get that Olympic break, but by the time you come back, there's a lot less games remaining in the season. And so you want to get somebody in, especially if they're going to make a positive impact, the sooner the better. And so I look at this and I go, Stan Bowman pre-roster freeze, or very soon after it lifts in January, that should be something that he's attacking.
You are not an I told you so person, but the day the week they traded for Trent Frederick, you were on with me and you talked about high ankle sprains and how long this specific injury that Trent Frederick had would take. And we're seeing that. I mean, he's, NHL Edge has him off, last I checked, significantly. And just in terms of straight ahead foot speed, he scored a goal the other night, which looked great, but he's not the player that he was in Boston. That's another area, right? With the Hyman injury we talked about in the recovery. But that's, along the wings, Frederick, when he's optimal, I think he's a hell of a third line winger, but he's not. And that's another consideration here that the Oilers at least have to think about. Injuries to players that are on their roster and that they signed, and Frederick being number one or at least high on the list.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about this, and I did have some pretty significant concerns about the trade and the forthcoming contract extension. And those are kind of, I'm not going to say that Frederick won't be an effective player. It was not necessary to sign him to the term that they did, especially with the level of injury that he had. And when you look at the NHL Edge data, yeah, his speed has dropped by more than 10%. And that is right in line with what you expect for an athlete who had the injury that Trent Frederick had. And so it's obviously very unfortunate. You never like to see a player be that significantly impacted by an injury long term, but it's also not something that the Oilers shouldn't have known. If you and I can talk about it on the radio, then there's really no excuse for an NHL team to not be aware of it. Now, I agree with you. When Trent Frederick's at the top of his game, he is one of the best third liners in the National Hockey League and capable of filling in on the second line. He's somebody who can forecheck really well. He's physical. He's in the muck and kind of somebody who can address, I guess, a little bit of what the Florida Panthers brought in the last couple of Stanley Cup finals. The problem is you need that player to be effective. And right now he's not being effective. And the Oilers don't really have a way out of that contract, nor do they have somebody who's kind of in the wings that can bring the same style that Frederick did. So it's kind of one of those things where when Stan Bowman's out there trying to make deals, you need to do your homework on the player, especially if they're injured.
Rachel Dory, our guest on Sports 1440 in the Lowdown with Lowetide. I wonder about the Calgary Flames. I've got lots of buddies who are Flames fans, and they are all convinced that the Flames should compete. I've always felt this would be an opportunity. You're in last place. The opportunity to maybe, flush the season and get a high pick is there. They've won 3 in a row now. If you were advising Craig Conroy, would you tell him to start offloading veterans sooner than later, or do you like the fact that they're maybe costing themselves a few spots in the draft here coming up next summer?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's noble what Craig Conroy is doing. I also think it's a terrible idea. When you look at the last number of Stanley Cup winners, every single one of them has at least one first overall pick on the team. Aaron Ekblad is that for the Panthers. And let's not forget that Sasha Barkov was a top 3 pick. Yes, they lucked into a Matthew Tkachuk trade, and they were able to extract value out of Sam Bennett, and Bill Zito deserves a ton of credit for that. But let's not sit here and pretend that the Florida Panthers would be Stanley Cup champions without Sasha Barkov or Aaron Ekblad. Like, nobody is going to say that. You look at Florida without Sasha Barkov right now, and they're not the same hockey team. So I think when you look at Calgary's position, they don't have that, right? There is no elite offensive or defensive talent in their lineup. Zane Parekh is the closest thing they have, and he's still a kid, and he is not a lottery pick. Now, could he turn into an elite talent that they got? Like, maybe it's a top 3 talent that they ended up getting later on. Yes, he could, but that's not a guarantee. And when you look at the talent that's available this year, be it Gavin McKenna or Keaton Verhoff or the likes of Ryan Lynn, Ethan Belchetz, like, there's not I wouldn't say there's a Bedard level. Like, we have some questions about Gavin McKenna, but the reality of the situation is the Calgary Flames are more likely to be a long-term success story if they were to get a top 3 pick than if they are not. Being in the mushy middle Like you do not want to join the Vancouver Canucks in the mushy middle. We have seen how that worked out, and it is going famously well among their fan base. So you don't want to be in that position. You want to avoid that at all costs. I think the Flames have an opportunity because they have guys who are overperforming to get significant assets back that will turbocharge their rebuild while also allowing them to bottom out for their own pick. And so if I were advising Craig Conroy, I would say, listen, take advantage of the fact that some of your guys are overperforming, get trade value for them, let some of the kids play and grow, get a top 3 pick, and go from there.
Sabres have a better record than the Toronto Maple Leafs. What's the temperature in Toronto around the Leafs right now?
What's hotter than white hot, Lowetide?
Not much.
Like, have you seen the videos that the fire department puts out where it's like, for American Thanksgiving, please don't drop a frozen turkey into a deep fryer because everything will light on fire. That fire video that they're referring to, that's the level of hot it is in Toronto right now. And it is quite something. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are missing $60 million worth of players in their lineup, and no team withstands that. The Vancouver Canucks got in trouble earlier this year with far less missing than that. The Florida Panthers are not the Florida Panthers without Barkov and Tkachuk. Like, nobody is surprised by that. The Toronto Maple Leafs have not had healthy goaltending, which was going to be sort of the backbone of the team. But my biggest issue with the Toronto Maple Leafs is the defense. They went from a team that could move the puck effectively, that wasn't necessarily the most physical, to a defense core that not only can't really defend, but they can't make a pass to save their lives. Morgan Riley and Troy Stetcher, who was just claimed off waivers, are pretty much the only defensemen with any regularity that are completing breakout passes. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has a good game here or there. But then you have guys who you got to be defensive guys, like Brandon Carlo before he got hurt, Simone Benoit, Dakota Mermis. They're supposed to be the tough guys who can defend, and they can't defend. So if you can't defend and you can't make a pass, what are you doing? And so the Leafs are getting pretty much exactly what they deserve for the team that they've built. This has nothing to do with Mitch Marner leaving the team, because I don't know how much people are watching. He hasn't exactly been fantastic in Vegas. He's on pace for his lowest point potential in an 82-game season in a very long time. He's just at a point per game, and that's not what you're paying somebody $12 million for. So it's not Marner leaving the team. Marner wasn't a defenseman. And so when you look at this, yes, there are injuries. Yes, there are problems. But fundamentally, this is a poorly constructed roster. And now they are looking at, for the second time in my lifetime, trading a top 10 pick to the Boston Bruins in a tremendously avoidable trade. And so when you look at this, I'm not sure firing Craig Berube is the right answer, but Peter DeBoer sitting there has to be really tempting. And if you're not thinking about it, you need to be. And from a GM perspective, there have to be a lot of hard questions for Brad Treliving, because this started when Brendan Shanahan nixed Kyle Dubas's deal for Mitch Marner before trade protection kicked in and said, this is what we're doing. That started this entire situation. The Leafs as a whole chose Brendan Shanahan. Ultimately, his plan failed and they fired him. Now they've chosen Brad Treliving. It's still not going very well. And if you look up the standings, the guy who built the Pittsburgh Penguins, who used to run your franchise, the Penguins are ahead of the Leafs. And so at some point, you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and think, hey, moving the puck, sort of important. And so, I mean, there is rightfully so, a lot of pressure around the Toronto Maple Leafs. And yeah, they're injured, but at the same time, even with a healthy defense core, that defense core is not good enough, and it's not scaring anybody.
Really quickly, Canada's goalie at the Olympics is?
Logan Thompson, Darcy Kemper, and then I don't really care who, but we all know it's going to be Jordan Binnington, and that drives me absolutely bananas.
Would you go Wedgwood instead?
I would, yeah. right now, I would probably consider Wedgwood or Blackwood, but the reality is Jordan Binnington's come up massive for Canada, even when he's played like a flaming car wreck in the NHL. So I think you sort of have to take him. He should not, under any circumstances, be the starter, though. That has been earned by Logan Thompson.
Rachel, great segment. Thanks. Appreciate it. Have a great week.
Thanks, you too, Lowetide.
There you go. Rachel Krychak. We're a little bit late, but that's okay. Coming up, Jason Gregor at 1:20, and we've got declinations as well next hour. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Time for an update with Declan.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors, Inc. Floors done right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom at 115-77 149th Street. That's 115-77 149th Street. Now open 6 days a week with the Saturday hours from 10 to 2. Or visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. News from Oilers practice today. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins skating in the main group, rotating in with Savoy on McDavid's the line, but he is, quote, unsure if he will play tomorrow. Captain was also skating and rotating in on the third line, but will not play tomorrow, nor will Jake Wallman, all courtesy of our own Jason Gregor. Curling scores from earlier today was Gushu over Epping 5-3, Dunstone over Kleider 7-3, Coe over McDonald 8-7, and Jacobs over McEwen 6-3. In the sporting world, Joe Burrow aiming to play Thursday night, according to Bengals head coach Zach Taylor, and the Minnesota Vikings have put struggling quarterback J.J. McCarthy into concussion protocol. One final piece of news for quarterbacks in the NFL is the Browns are set to start Shedeur Sanders again versus the Niners. NHL action will get going today at 5 o'clock with 4 games. Flyers and Lightning, Red Wings and Devils, Blues and Rangers, and the Blue Jackets in Washington taking on the Caps. Late game, we'll see the Ottawa Senators in LA taking on the Kings. In the NBA, we're going to get going with 2 games tipping off at 5. Detroit in Indiana, and of course the Toronto Raptors playing host to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The late game tonight, we'll see the Minnesota Timberwolves in Sacramento taking on the Kings. And in Monday Night Football, the final game of Week 12, Carolina in San Francisco to take on Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CHAR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit greatcanadiansolar.com and call today to get started.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal, and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
What sports talk on the go?
You can listen to 1440 on the AM dial or stream us on your mobile device through apps like Radio Player, iHeart, and Stingray Music.
Edmonton sports fans,
turn to Sports 1440.
1440.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Well, mistakes were made. Miles says, you said Rachel Dory twice, Al. One day I'm going to have my kids in, and they are going to tell you how many things that I say that are almost right, but not quite. Their favorite is, don't be so yell. I say that. I don't mean to, but it just comes out that way. So Rachel Krychak, terrific guest, and great job there. Your Candy says, Rachel always brings the good stuff, the great stuff. Love this guest, and for sure. Ricky Cheese says, what song is that?
That was Hometown Girl by Josh Turner.
Okay. And is Josh Turner a big-time star?
I'm not really too in touch with the country music scene. I think, though, he's a little bit more low-key.
Okay. All right.
I could be wrong. I don't
know.
So
he's a kind of middling star.
Middling. Yeah, I like that.
He's not Merle or George.
Like, he's not who's popping right now.
Okay.
He's not Morgan Wallen. He's not someone of that ilk, but I don't know.
He's not Conway Twitty.
No, he's not Conway Twitty. He's got some hits, though.
You ever see Conway Twitty's hair?
Yeah, because Family Guy used to always do a cutaway gag to Conway Twitty.
Conway Twitty's hair, man. You make a car at a Conway Twitty's hairline, and people would buy that thing.
Oh, I'd buy it.
Big hunter ornament out front there. God, that's the good stuff. Maybe Tree Living will trade us Matthew Nyes for Emerson and a bag of pucks. J.R. and Red Deer. Well, no, it's not like that. This is not. It's unlikely to be the year that Canada brings the cup home. I don't have a problem. I mean, you can get mad at me if you want and yell and scream and say the Oilers are going to win, and it would be great for what I do. But I don't see it. I haven't seen it. I don't see it happening. I'm not convinced. I really like the two young players. I think the Roslovic signing was fantastic. And I understand why Stan Bowman feels like he wants to see the whole team on the ice before they make a big move. That's good sense. And I'm absolutely impressed that they've held the line on the goaltending so far. But I'm also aware that, you could get to the deadline. I'm serious here. You could get the deadline looking for a goaltender, and there might not be the kind of goalie that you want. And I do think that's why Connor Ingram is playing in Bakersfield. I don't think he's going to get called up anytime soon, maybe not even this year. But that's not a bad little small off bet, like the lower level, small B bet on a position where you might need a little help. Just tank and play the kids in Calgary. You don't even experience getting your teeth kicked in every night. Proof of the 10 years of total nonsense in Edmonton from Nathan. Well, Nathan, part of the reason the Oilers struggled so badly during the decade of darkness is they put it all on the kids. It was always, Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle and Nugent Hopkins didn't get it done. Well, where were the veterans of support? When you trade Hemsky, when you trade, Horkoff, when you trade all of those guys, and they did have a pretty good defense. That's the truth. 9-10's defense, as I recall, or maybe it was 08-09, was pretty damn good. But then they sent Sheldon Surrey to Chocolate City because they were mad at him. There's so much wrong in that decade. LT, everyone is focused on getting Saros out of Nashville. However, I think the Oilers should be targeting another Predators player, Michael McCarron. He could still play on the fourth line on that role that the Oilers hope Clattenburg will in a few years. On top of that, his contract is cheap, thought Hampton Steve. He's been mentioned like a lot over the years. If the Oilers, I think the Oilers will make multiple deals between now and the deadline. I do think a goaltender's coming in, and I think that they may end up trying to get an Alex Tuck. I don't know if they can do both, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went and got a physical fourth line winger as well. By the way, I just want to reiterate, I thought Clattenburg played well. Didn't play much, but he played well, and he didn't overdo it. He didn't try to. I remember when Curtis Hamilton was called up in April of whatever year that was, 2012 or 15, and he took a high sticking penalty. He almost got thrown out of the game. He got a 5-minute major, but stayed in the game. And that's what you're a little bit concerned about with young players. But Clattenburg, I thought, stayed within his game, didn't try to do too much. And he did get some of those Florida Panthers off of their game. LT, the Jets have a chance because Connor Hellebuck will be rested. Yeah, that division though, man. Like I cheer for the Jets. I would like the Jets to win the Stanley Cup because, I have so many friends who are Winnipeg Jets fans and they love that team, just as much as Declan loves the Rough Riders and Josh loves Dungeons and Dragons. And, they deserve a win too, not just for this generation, but for the Howard Chuck bunch. I'd love to see Winnipeg win, but that division is hellfire. And Colorado's in it. So, Colorado, God. Do they look unbeatable right now? I know they're peaking too early. That's the one thing you can say. They're peaking too early. But what if this is them? Savoy, come on. What are you watching? Really struggle with your analysis of players. It's not how much you like someone, it's how good they are, from Randy. Randy, Savoy had a really good game there. He got rewarded with the empty net goal, but he played well. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to stay on the top line when Nuge comes back, but he played well. I'm really liking Matt Savoy's game. I'm not going to back down on that at all. I understand he's not 6'4" and 205. I get it. I understand that. But he's tenacious on the forecheck. He doesn't give up. He's a smart player. He sends the puck to really good areas. And you can see what they saw in Matthew Savoy. I know people are rambling on about Ryan McLeod and, missing him and what he could have been. But I like Savoy. Full stop. I really like him. Too late to get a goalie at the deadline, from Brian. I don't think that's true, but I think that if you're waiting for the pool of talent to increase, you might be disappointed because other teams might just block you. Everybody knows the Oilers need goaltending. It's like Josh. When I get off work, Josh knows where my car is, and his car is always between my car and me, and I can hear him revving the engine. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to get over there? And every day it's just so close. That's what's happening with the Oilers. I guarantee it. They're going to have to pay a premium for goaltending. What if the Avalanche haven't peaked yet? Well, there are teams that just, when I was a kid, the Habs were like that. They'd get on a roll and then they'd lose like 10 games all year. And there wasn't a lot you could do about that. I don't think teams like that exist anymore, but maybe Colorado's found the juice. I don't know. Do goalie trades that happen mid-season ever work? From Perplexed Oilers fan. I'd have to look at it, but I think the Rolison trade worked. Now, that's 20 years ago. When's the last time an NHL team won a Stanley Cup with a rental goaltender or somebody they acquired during the year? Want to see a picture of 50 Cent with Conway Twitty's hair? Oh, I'm not clicking on that, because if I click on that, then the internet explodes. The Yabs are really good. They're an absolute monster. There's no doubt about that. I like the Oilers' effort here. 3-3-1 on the road. They played better as the road trip went along. Seems to me they're tweaking the headman pass a little bit more now. It's not just dumping it in and chasing. They're sometimes corralling the puck and then sending it to the middle of the ice for a streaking forward. I remember the first time I saw the Oilers do that, it was Radoslav Dvorak in 05-06. It's an effective move, and it is a controlled move because the defenseman who's defending that either has to trip the player or the puck and player are going to get past him. And like if it's McDavid, you're just in the biggest damn spot of bother possible. So it's an effective move. And McFarland is a really innovative offensive coach. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that. But it's interesting. I maybe I missed it, but I hadn't seen it before. Miller trade at the deadline didn't work. Rolison, great ad.
Lowetide, by the way, your question about when the last time a goalie was traded mid-season.
Yes.
Was it the Patrick Waugh trade in 95, 96?
Wow.
I'm trying to go back through the list of teams that won here.
That's a wild stat if it's true.
If that is the one.
You know, Krueger has an encyclopedic memory. So he's coming up next. Maybe we'll ask him.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, make sure to, tell
No,
him.
I'll take total credit for it.
For sure.
As I was thinking.
hit him with Declan and Josh.
No, I'm going to take all the credit. That's how the big time players do, like me.
It's Wade and James back here.
All right. Krueger next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Weekly NFL giveaways, drink specials, huge screen TVs. The hits keep coming at First Round, Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Watch NFL football at First Round, and you could win a trip to your favorite NFL city for a regular season game next season. Catch NFL action Thursday nights, all day Sunday, starting with the Pro Bowl brunch from 10:30 to 2. Then Monday night with half-price boneless wings after 6 p.m. First Round, burgers, beer, sports. Downtown and Bourbon Street, West Edmonton Mall.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
More Edmonton families than ever are struggling as food prices skyrocket. The Holiday Hamper Foundation provides festive meals for 2,000 homes in need. Your donation ensures a turkey is on the table for every family. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 15% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off a $150 service until December 13th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Born from work, built for play. Carhartt's all-new Super Ducks tech jackets are built for hard-working people who can't sacrifice mobility for durability. This ultra-tough gear fights off wind, snow, and cold, while full-swing technology flexes with every move and still packs 3M insulation for maximum warmth. Try your new Carhartt Super Ducks at JobSite Workwear. 3 locations in Edmonton and online at jobsiteworkwear.ca.
ShopSite Workwear, tough different jobs.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
$119. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick, family-owned, community-driven. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com. Just as I said, is Krueger on the phone? He slides in. And how are you?
Alan, I'm better than your Eagles defense.
Oh my God. Of all the teams to lose to, damn it, Gregor.
21-0 now. What happened?
You know what? The Eagles are not, there's something wrong. I swear to you.
Well, here's what I didn't understand. So they're leading 21-7.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley did not rush the ball once after they led 21-7. Now, I know he'd only rushed, for 22 yards and 12 of them came on 2 carries. He had like 8-10 yards in the other 8 carries. So I get that he is struggling, but you're leading 21-7. You're trying to manage the clock and you can't
pound the ball.
Yeah.
Third quarter, fourth quarter, that's when you pound the ball.
Yeah. Well, he can't right now. He doesn't look like he has the same burst as last season. I know obviously they missed their main offensive lineman, but the rest of the unit's kind of the same. It's an interesting season in the NFL. There is no clear dominant team like the Detroit. Well, maybe the Rams, but like Detroit is great offensively. I'm not sure the defense is that good.
No.
The Chiefs say they found a way to win. They always seem to find a way to win. But like, what about the Ravens? Okay, Lamar Jackson's coming back, and what a pathetic offensive display by them, and they won. But oh my goodness, like it was a wild weekend.
And the MVP is in Cleveland.
Yeah, on the defensive line, he's unreal. Like honestly, he probably could be the MVP.
Yeah, that's why the trade deadline needs to be later. Because what would the Cleveland Browns get for that guy if there was a trade deadline now?
Well, I just don't think that. Well, they'd be stupid to trade him.
Yeah,
like, you're trying to build your team. You can't trade all your good players just for some picks because none of the picks are going to be him.
No, it's true. Nuge on the ice and Kasperi Kapanen. Kapanen, big, fast guy. They lost him early and we kind of forgot about him, but he's a guy who can contribute.
I had a really good conversation with Kasperi playing on my show today. And, it's funny. You forget that, he's born here in North America. Like his English is unbelievable, but he was very honest about his playoffs. And when he came into the playoffs and when he learned about himself as a player there, because I actually thought he was playing really well till he got injured this year. And I really think they miss him because he's a unique combination of speed. He can kill penalties. He can hit. He's got a great shot. Like he does. You watch practice today, and I always say this. And today was actually an open practice. There was, I don't know how many hundreds of Oiler fans who were watching the practice down at the community rink today.
Yeah.
And if they're watching and they didn't know, they'd be like, okay, that guy, Jesus, who's that? Oh, that's McDavid. Yeah, he's good. And over there, there's Dry. Who's this other guy?
Yeah.
And it's Kapanen. Him and Rostovic's close too, but Kapanen was absolutely flying. And he won't play tomorrow. He joked. He says, "Hey, if it's up to me, I would, but I get why I'm not playing. It's one practice with the team." But I think Saturday is a very good option for him. Nugent Hopkins, I'm going to guess, doesn't play tomorrow. There's a chance.
Yeah.
But my gut's going to tell me no, just watching the line rushes, coming off the injury he had. If you don't play him tomorrow, you save it until Saturday. Like the Oilers are a team that doesn't need a win tomorrow. It'd be nice, but it's not like, oh my God, if we don't win tomorrow, we can't make the playoffs. They're thinking long-term. So I don't think either one will be back. Wallman didn't skate, but he's either Saturday or the following Tuesday. And then Philp and Lazar are out. Well, obviously Philp's on LTIR, so he's out for a while.
I think with the long stretch pass and the tip ins, I think Kapanen might be really, because he can fly and he's a big body. He can move guys around too. That might be, they got Put Coles. They don't have a lot of big wingers.
Yeah, I don't think they've been doing that tip in as much anymore. Actually, because I've been strongly disagreeing with people who suggested the Oilers would change their system this year. I don't think they've changed anything for last year. So I asked Chris Knobloch about it, and we'll play that too. And he's like, we have not made any change 5-5. He goes, why would we? We've had great success under this system 5-on-5 for 2 years when it's Stanley Cup final. But he admitted that, well, now it's a 24 games and we're having, like, they're giving up way too much defensively in the slot.
Right.
Like that's where they're getting killed. If you look at a lot of their plays in the slot. So he did, I didn't want to say which one, but I was watching practice closely today. He said there was one change. The one focus I got was, I thought their neutral zone defense is going to be a more emphasis on clogging up the middle a little bit of the ice, because anytime you give up the middle of the ice anywhere, it can be dangerous, right? So I think that was one change, but he's still kind of hesitant because he's like, I think they've had a lot of players not playing up to their potential. There's been some injuries, and they've never really had a full lineup yet, which most teams haven't either. So I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm just pointing it out. So I could see small, subtle changes, but they haven't made any major ones yet. 5-on-5.
I'm a believer in Brett Kulak. I love his speed. I love his defensive play. He's been a real good player for this team. He struggled this year.
He struggled in November. Yeah, like that.
What do you do with a player who's? I don't know that he's hurt, but I mean, I'm sure this is he's got a lot of pride. He wants to do well. This has been a tough time for him.
Yeah, I thought he started to come out of it a little bit in the last 2 games. Right. what was the one game? My God, 3 goals in his first 3 shifts. I was kind of like, take a seat, son. That was Washington game.
Crazy.
And it seemed like I thought there's signs of him playing better the last few games. Like he has fought the puck more than I can recall in a 3-week stretch of times, or maybe the whole year, right? Usually he doesn't make a lot of flashy plays, just kind of makes a safe play, get the puck, and he might just go off the boards and out, and doesn't lead to a scoring chance, but it doesn't lead to a scoring chance against. And that's really been, I think, a problem with him in November so far. But because if the third pair gets a little bit better, right? Evan Bouchard's game in November has ratcheted right up. Bouchard has been excellent. Leon Draisaitl's game in November has been really good. So they got some guys whose games are coming. I thought Nurse's last few games have been better than they were. So, it's arrows going in the right direction for some. They still need a few more. But you get Nugent Hopkins and you get Kapanen back. Then I'm really intrigued on who's going to go where. Nugent Hopkins is either going to play first line left wing or third line center.
Right.
And if he plays first line left wing, then Savoy goes to your third line, and that means one of Mangiapane or Frederick goes to your fourth line.
Yeah.
And then Kapanen comes in, and I think what happens then is your fourth line just plays a little bit more minutes, right, with Kapanen on that line for sure. So it's a good problem to have, but they're a week away probably, Al, I think, from being fully healthy up front. Now, knock on wood that no one gets injured between now and the Seattle.
I thought Clattenburg played well. I thought he got under Greer's skin. I thought Greer was going to hog tie Frederick. That was kind of a wild play.
Well, Greer, I know people are all upset, and Greer couldn't fight. For everybody wondering, well, why wasn't he fighting? Well, he couldn't fight. Now, the double leg takedown, I don't like that move. To me, that should be a fine. That should not be allowed in hockey. I don't like it at all. The move with Clattenburg at the end, I talked to Connor today, and he's like, that was nothing, right? Like, fans online are all upset. The players aren't upset about it at all. They didn't think that Greer-Clattenburg exchange was really nothing, right? Connor Clattenburg goes, like, I didn't even feel it. He's like, it's nothing. So, but the funny thing is, you mentioned AJ Greer. That's how Connor Clattenburg has to play.
Yeah,
Connor Clattenburg needs to become an AJ Greer or what's his name? Cousins, Nick Cousins type of player.
That would be
who's got some skill, who can skate. I talked to Connor. He has been, his last few games in Bakersfield before he got recalled, he was getting a shift on the penalty kill, kind of like in the third unit, because that's part of his evolution, is he has to become a penalty killer. Because if he can kill penalties and be an aggressive guy, now you can play 10, 11, 12 minutes a night. And you can play for a long time, and he's willing to do it. I joked about, I'm sure you saw the interview with Gene. His sister's like, he's a pain in my ass. And he laughed. He goes, I joke. I said, so your older sister basically toughened you up. He's like, yeah, a little bit. And so, you know what? You can tell, obviously he's super excited. He just says, man, the plane ride home for him, he was just like, that was another world. You're just all the food and your seats laying right back, you're flying in style. And so he's obviously on cloud 9 still, right? As a young kid to get called up, and, he brings some energy for sure. And, he did admit, he got a shift with McDavid on the ice, and he goes, you know what? I was so, the whole game was kind of, I didn't even notice I was on the ice with McDavid till I was in front of the net, because, they were changing on the fly. So that was still said his first thing his parents said to him after the game was, you were on the ice with McDavid. That's a big deal. I think people kind of it's one of the best players in the world, not the best. And you know what? You're like, oh my God, my son's on, it's only one shift, but how many people can say they ever had a shift with Connor McDavid? Not many.
Yeah. I was looking back in Oilers history to see a guy drafted later who played any games in his 20-year-old season.
Bucky?
Bucky. And I don't know if Stortini did, but Stortini came up earlier than anybody thought he was.
Because he was drafted in 03.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so it would have been a little older because there was no season his 12-year-old year. Right. But, Stortini's an example. And I know the Oilers weren't very good back then. So people kind of always have negative thoughts of every player. But you know what? There's a guy who forged out, played over 300 some games in his career.
Mac T loved him.
Right. Now, Kyle Brodziak was a late-round pick, is one of the greatest late-round picks ever. He played over 900 games. That would be a phenomenal career for Clattenburg. But you know what? He just, this will be a great taste. Once Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen are in, he's obviously going down. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. So just cap-wise and everything else. So, you know what? But good for him. He gets rewarded. And now you can go down. No one questions his heart and his willingness to play scrappy. And, maybe you can pick your spots a little bit better. You don't have to fight everybody in the American League. But I don't mind that he's fighting. Hey, whatever, I'm never going to tell a guy not to do what he thinks is right for him. I can't sit there and say, Clattenburg, don't fight. To me, it's idiotic and beyond arrogant for me to think that I know what's better for Connor Clattenburg. You can pick your spots at times, right? Maybe. But if he wants to fight, let him fight. I have no problem with it. And, he'll work on some of his skill stuff. But trust me, these few games I think it'll be such a boost of confidence for him, but also like an eye opener of, okay, this is the areas I got to work on.
Yeah. Oilers went 3-3-1 on the road trip, and I don't think that's bad. The Leafs are having a hell of a time, Jason, and I feel bad for Toronto Maple Leafs. Buffalo Sabres are ahead of them.
But here's the interesting thing about Toronto. Toronto's played, like the Oilers have played the most road games in the NHL at 16. Toronto's played the most home games in the NHL at 15.
Yeah.
And they're only 1-6 on the road, and they're 8-4-3 at home. And so now they're going to have 15 road, 6 home, doesn't 7 home or road, excuse me. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out they got way more road games coming up here.
Right.
So yeah, they're going to have to find it. The Eastern Conference is really tight. Like I said it before the Carolina game. If Buffalo beats Carolina, you can't throw the Sabres out of the picture. They're getting healthy now. They got Dahlin back. They got other guys coming back. And they on paper, they've got some talent. I like their defense core. Obviously, I like Tage Thompson. You like Alex Tuck. I think a lot of GMs are annoyed if Buffalo gets competitive because Alex Tuck then isn't getting moved.
Yeah.
Right. Like at least there's no way you haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. And if you're within 1, 2, or 3 points of the playoffs, you're not going to trade him at the deadline because they're not about a Stanley Cup at that point.
No,
they're about making the playoffs.
I'll say this. I don't think Morgan Geekie is the next Cam Neely, but he's scoring in Boston, Jason.
You like that tweet I put out?
Yeah.
I was wild. I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I always like to do it in the calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
And Morgan freaking Geekie leads the NHL in goals since January 1st. And then Pasternak second, 42-41. Dreisaitl's third. Now he's played a fewer games because everybody knows he missed some games at the end of last season. Right? Tage Thompson's up there. And Geekie, like I look at him and hey, every team has it. And I'm sure there's one that we'll get into involving the Oilers in a second. But Morgan Geekie, the Seattle Kraken had him. And for whatever reason, they thought he was a fourth line player.
Yeah.
Right. And now they played him a little bit up in the set, and then they didn't want to qualify him out. They elected not to qualify this guy. And you know what he signed for in Boston? $2 million a year. For a team that can't score, that had all older players. They let Morgan Geekie walk because they were worried about paying him $2 million. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, let me jump off of that to Roslovic. Carolina's a smart team. They had him last year.
He's a free agent, and I think, well, they brought in Nikolai Ehlers, right? And they just said, hey, we don't. And Jack Roslovic, if you look at his numbers in Carolina last year, started out great.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of the season, really and that's been a little bit of a trend. So that's why, hey, Roslovic has been unreal. I see people, Gregor, when can they re-sign him? Pump the brakes. When you have a reputation of being a good starter, but not a good finisher, why would you sign him January 1st if you're not sure yet? Like, he's done everything well through 17 games. It's amazing. It looks awesome. But when you have a reputation of doing that, and it's hard, like I talked to Kapanen about it. He said the thing he learned, like being more consistent. It's like Kapanen's skills there. So was Roslovic. Now, maybe Roslovic, the light's just gone on and said, man, like, on July 1st, I thought I was going to be a free agent making $4 million. Probably.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't get signed till October 8th.
Yeah.
Now, why? So you can get mad and look at everybody else, or you can say, now why did that happen? Now let's go through it honestly and fine tooth comb what's happened to my career. Oh, I've started out well, but then I kind of crater off a little bit.
Yep.
And, same as Kapanen. So I think great for Roslovic, but I'd pump the brakes on a contract extension until you see him do a little bit. Because I'll tell you right now, if you have to sign him, because even if he has a really good full season now, it's 1 year.
Yeah.
He's 1 year away of no team signing him for more than $1.5 million. That you could, let's say, has a great year and then he falls up and has a solid playoffs. Because if you look at his playoff numbers, they're not good. Then you say, okay, well, hey, we'll sign this guy 2 years at 3.5.
No.
Right? You can live with that then. But there's no reason to jump into a long-term deal because of 25 games.
I thought Skinner played well on Saturday.
Yeah.
And, Stan Bowman is obviously patient. I know I read every day, fans are just like, can't believe there's not a goalie coming in yet. You said earlier in the year, I can't remember when, something along the lines of you felt like the the goalie tandem they've run the last 2 years might not be here at the start of the playoffs. Doesn't mean Skinner's getting traded. Doesn't mean it just means one of them.
Yeah, and I
right?
still believe that. I
Yeah.
still think that they're not going to go into the third playoff again with the same tandem. Now, I know which one's easier to replace.
Yes,
Pickard, right? It just is. When you look at, you can bring in, you can find a backup somewhere. It's harder to bring in someone that you think is for sure, and that's the challenge. Now you can say, "Hey, I like Elvis Merzlikins." Okay, do you like him at $6 million? Right? Tristan Jarry. We can go down the list of other guys who have question marks, like Stu Skinner, and maybe they'll come here and be better. But what if they don't? So that's, in an ideal world, you go find that a Scott Wedgwood who's a backup, like Devin Cooley in Calgary,
Yes,
right? Somebody that's not proven yet, but if he gets hot and pushes Skinner, and then you have a 1A and a 1B, well, that's what you want, right? Now, if you can tell me for certain there's a starting goaltender, and please don't say UC Saros because this financially doesn't make sense. That's an upgrade, then of course you would do it. I'm just not sure there is one right now.
The experts behind the board there were talking earlier about the last goalie acquired in the middle of the year who led a team to a Stanley Cup victory. And I think we got back to Patrick Waugh in 96.
Well, it was acquired in a trade.
No.
Yeah. Now, Dwayne Rolson got you to the Stanley Cup final.
Right. Yeah.
Jordan Binnington got recalled during the year. It took you to
That's true.
Stanley Cup.
From the ECHL.
Right? Yeah, exactly. He was like the number, and he wasn't even on your own team. You had loaned him to another team. So does that kind of count? Maybe. But yeah, it's hard. It's difficult to do. But that doesn't mean you can't just say, well, don't do it. I think it would be irresponsible to run the same tandem for the playoffs. So I think you have now until the trade deadline to make a change.
What's coming up on the show?
Kevin Woodley will be by. We're going to talk goaltending. Look at how quickly the position changes out. Remember, last October at the start of the year, a lot of people thought, oh man, Gorgiev's going to go in. It's his final year. He's going to have a good year in Colorado. He's going to become a free agent. Went to Colorado, didn't work. They traded him. Went to Buffalo, didn't work. Now he's out of the league. He's in the KHL in less than a calendar year. And so, you know what? There's pressure at that position, right? Stuart Skinner's in a contract here. He's got to play better. There's no question. But we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Woodley's going to give me the numbers because I asked him. I believe the Oilers have given up way more slot chances against this year early on. So he's going to give me the numbers to see if that's true or not based on the actual numbers, not just the eye test. We'll also talk crazy weekend in the NFL, NBA as well. There's lots going on in the NHL. It's like overtime city, right? The Oilers have been to 10 overtime games already.
That's nuts.
And they've got as many overtime losses this year than they had all last year, for goodness sakes. So overtime / shootout losses. So it's and that's because a lot of people the big story is, well, look at the more minutes McDavid and Dry. They're playing too many minutes. Well, you have to take a step back and look at why. You've had 10 overtime games in 24 games, right? That's a factor. Who starts every overtime?
McDavid, Draisaitl.
Right. So there's 10 minutes more automatically, right? Divided by 20, that's 30 seconds more a game just from them only having one shift in overtime. And I'm sure they've had more games with more than one shift.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. So you look at that'll bring up your minutes. You look at the fact that the Oilers, well, they got blown out by Colorado. They haven't had many blowout wins now.
No,
right, where you can, it's a midway through the second, it's 4 or 5-1, and now we can kind of relax. Because sadly, when the Oilers have a 4-1 lead, you can't really relax. So, there's been a lot of one goal games all year long. So there's some factors at play. I do think that it's something they're aware of, and if they could get Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen, and then those guys stay healthy, and everybody else stays healthy for even a month, I think you'll see the minutes come down for those two.
The final question: starting goalie for Canada at the Olympics.
Bad. Hey, Logan Thompson, a lot of people thought he was the guy. His first 11 games, he allowed 17 goals.
No.
Now he's allowed 15 goals in his last 4 games. Dude, it switches fast. Honestly, you tell me. And I'd probably be like, well, okay, I agree with you. Thompson's resume on the season is still good.
Yeah.
But now, will it matter? That's the other question. If Canada, you probably need a few good saves, but Canada's roster is pretty damn good. My question to you, Al, I'll say this: the way Evan Bouchard has played in November,
well,
he's putting himself in the conversation because you'd be an idiot to not consider what he's done in clutch time games.
I was told, and I heard interviews that you've had on your show where people have basically said, well, Makar is the puck mover. We're not going to have more than one. I think that's a mistake.
Well, but anybody's saying that, I think they're foolish. Like what? Shea Theodore doesn't move the puck now. Like Josh Morrissey doesn't move the puck. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, Makar and Bouchard are kind of perceived as being a certain way, although they're outscoring at 5-on-5.
Yeah. But the other thing is, like, what people haven't noticed is Evan Bouchard's been a pretty good penalty killer. Right. And actually, the coach pointed out today he thinks he's been one of their best penalty killers. So, Bouchard, what he's done in the playoffs cannot be overlooked. You can get mad about giveaways in October. When was the last one he had this year? Like, I honestly think in November, this might have been
played well.
it might be the best November Bouchard's ever had to date. I think he's played way better.
Yeah, he and Ekholm are 10-5 goals at 5-on-5.
Yeah, Ekholm is and that's more on Bouchard, if I'll be honest. Like Ekholm's game, it's coming around, but Bouchard's game came around quicker.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if it keeps coming around, I think you got 8 defensemen. And you're telling me that Bouchard can't be one of your top 8 defensemen the way he's playing right now? No chance.
And he'd be a great experience for him. It really would.
Oh, yeah.
Look forward to the show. Thanks, Jason.
Al, have a good one.
All right. On the way, Declinations, MMA, Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Hey everybody, it's Steve Principe and Jason Stredler. Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from Los Angeles and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters and have some drinks with umbrellas in them, you could attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Jason Strudwick, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more. Don't miss out on every hockey fan's dream cruise, the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. It's going to be one hell of a trip. Price start at just $23.99. Part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
The Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, July 2026. Visit cast.tours/Edmonton or call 1-833-347-7678. Book now and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours/Edmonton.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turf. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
This Friday, 6 p.m. till midnight, don't miss the 71st annual Kinsman Radio Auction. The Kinsman Club of Camrose invites you to join the fun and support their largest fundraiser of the year. Bid on a huge selection of items donated by generous local businesses. All proceeds will help the Kinsmen serve our community's greatest needs. The Kinsman Radio Auction. For details, find them on Facebook. You can also join the bidding in person this Friday night at the Bailey Theater on Main Street, Camrose. Details on Facebook.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Watching some fantastic curling right now. Oh my God. This is top level curling. Holman, Einerson, ridiculous. Josh, you curl. How many leagues better than you are these curlers?
What's the distance between the Earth and Jupiter?
I mean, some of these shots are insane.
Like I told you when we went into the break that like Einerson and Homan are about the only two female curlers I've ever been able to watch in my life that can throw an 8-second takeout.
No.
And it is like the 8-second takeout is incredible. She just had that long run back to not give up two, to not surrender two. She only gave up one, and they're playing in the 10th now. But just like she does not miss shots basically ever.
Yeah, it's just dynamite to watch. It really is. All right, Declinations brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth double E football coverage available. They promise stuff on the draft. No kidding. On YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. And with that, we turn the microphone over to young Declan Krueger.
Pew, 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 pew. Really quickly, what's an 8-second takeout?
So an 8-second takeout is the time it takes for the rock to go from hog line to hog line.
Okay.
So on the
it's got some torque.
However many feet it is, it should take 8 seconds to get from there to there.
So it's kind of like a women's serve in tennis. Like it's not like is 8 seconds kind of the benchmark of what?
8 seconds is like the benchmark for like peel weight. So peel is what you want to throw when you definitely want two things out at the same time. The more common takeout is like if you can get a 10-second takeout, that's about the time that you're looking for from hog to hog. 8-second takeout is like I got to throw an absolute piss missile so it doesn't over curl.
Yeah,
I like that. I like curling a lot. I love Scotties and I love the Briar.
Oh, it's fantastic.
The Scotties is a better watch than the Briar.
But
You're right. Yeah.
Curling is a lot of fun to be a part. I love playing curling as well. But.
And by the way, no restaurant in town can offer an 8-second takeout.
I like that. Yeah, listen, pretty good fight night this past weekend, man. It had some implications. It was a big card. It was out in Doha, Qatar, actually. And you know what's funny? I'm scared of flying, but my mom, who was born in South Africa, and my grandparents are going back to South Africa, I think kind of as one final trip.
Oh my God, you got to go.
I was thinking about it. I'm scared of flying, so I probably won't do it. But
Declan,
I also don't fly on Boeings. Every time I sort by my flight, it's Airbus only, maybe Embraer or Bombardier if I'm flying regionally, like Edmonton to Vancouver, Edmonton to Calgary, something like that. But the point I was making is one of the flights to Cape Town has like an 8-hour layover in Doha in Qatar.
Oh, okay.
Which would be kind of interesting. I think it'd be a cool place to see. That's where the UFC was this past weekend, roundabout way of getting there. But no, listen, this was a card that had some implications. Arman Sarukian is a guy who I think is rightfully so the number one lightweight contender. He's a guy I quite honestly believe he was supposed to fight Islam Makhachev in a rematch. He got injured day of or day before, had to pull out. Hanato Moicano went in there, got stopped in the first round. UFC got a little pissed at Arman Sarukian. They ended up going with a vacant title fight. It was Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria. But Arman Sarukian had recently beaten Charles Oliveira. So I felt he was kind of getting shafted a little bit. I think he is a guy who is, I've long said this, I think him and Islam both would beat Ilia, and I still kind of feel that way about Arman. He's big for the weight class. He's very, very strong, very, very well credentialed grappler. He went out there against Dan Hooker, and Dan Hooker is a guy who's kind of a pure striker, and you know, all respect to Dan Hooker, but this was a bit of a stay busy fight for Arman Sarukian. Huge spot for Dan Hooker, but a bit of a stay busy spot for Arman Sarukian. He went out there, made it look easy, submitted Dan Hooker in the second round. And Dan Hooker was very candid after the fight. He was like, listen, you know, it's time to be honest with myself. I'm probably never going to touch a UFC title. And I think most of us have kind of felt that or known that about Dan Hooker for a long time. But every time he kind of got counted out, he would some way climb his way back into the top 5. And I think this fight against Arman just showed that he's way behind in the queue, and there are kind of some levels to things. So credit to Arman Sarukian for the win. Obviously, I want to see him fight for the title next against Ilia. Co-main event was Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. This was Bilal Muhammad's first fight since losing his belt to Jack Della Maddalena. And Ian Gary, man, we got to give him a lot of credit. He is a guy who only has one loss in his professional career. It was against Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is a monster. He had Shavkat in trouble in the 5th round. He was working submissions against him. He was working a rear naked choke against him. Whether or not you like Ian Gary, and I think most people don't because he's kind of corny and he's kind of cheesy and he kind of goes at the promotional aspect of the game as a Conor McGregor copycat, but we got to give him a lot of respect for what he's doing in the actual cage and in the octagon. And I just want to double check his resume here because you look at it and it is beyond impressive. Wins against Bilal, Carlos Prates, Jeff Neal, Michael Page. The only loss, like I mentioned, mixed in there, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Like, this is a guy who is right up there at the top of the line for the welterweight world title and a welterweight world title shot against newly crowned champion Islam Makhachev. So for him to go out there and beat a guy who literally just had the belt, really, really impressive stuff. You might not like him, but you have to respect what he's doing in the octagon. Volkan Oezdemir, kind of back, probably not really. Like his career just kind of goes through ups and downs like this, where he'll like lose a fight to someone better than him, and then he'll knock out someone worse than him in the first round. He knocked out Alonzo Menafield in the first round this past weekend. But you can, I feel like you can almost just pencil him fighting a better fighter next fight and losing that one, because that's kind of the story of him. Waldo Cortez Acosta, how about this? So he wasn't originally supposed to be on this card. He flies out like the day before or something over to Qatar, flies over to Qatar, makes weight because Shamil Ghaziev's opponent has to fall out, and he ends up knocking out Shamil Ghaziev in the first round. He's a heavyweight's thin. It's not a great division. There's not a lot of talent at heavyweight. There's a couple guys at the top of the queue, but like Tai Tuivasa, who's on a 5-fight losing streak, he's pretty much still ranked in the top 10. Like it's a really, really thin division. It's not deep roster wise. It's not deep in that top 15. It's not even really deep in the top 5. But Waldo Cortez Acosta is a guy who can still be in the title picture. So all credit to him for doing that and making that fight happen. I think Kyoji Horiguchi, the return, hasn't been in the UFC in like 9 years, has been making a name for himself in RIZM and has been incredibly impressive. He comes out here and gets a performance of the night against Tagbir Ulanbekov over kind of an enemy territory, if you want to call it that. A guy people have been really high on. He's done a great job outside of the organization. Been a champion at RIZM, like I said, in those Bellator RIZM crossover fights. Had 2 wins, I believe. He's done well. He's been really good. He's a really, really exciting flyweight prospect. And flyweight needs somebody, because if Pantoja knocks off Joshua Van, not this weekend, but the next weekend in the flyweight world title fight, he's kind of cleaned out everybody. So it's nice we're bringing Kyoji Horiguchi over and letting him 9 years after he was last in the UFC, kind of get another go at it. It was a good card, and it was a morning card. Watch it in the morning, early afternoon, and kind of get on with your day. It was great.
What would that be like for a fighter? Like, because your whole schedule is obviously a lot different, right?
Yeah. Like just in terms of fighting out there.
Well, no, but like also the day. Like, I mean, you could probably try to keep yourself on whatever time you're on.
Yeah, like fighting in Qatar, you mean, as opposed to like fighting stateside?
Well, but morning fighting, right?
Oh, for them it was like evening in Qatar. I don't know what the time.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. I thought they were doing it like
No,
for
yeah,
brunch.
it was, that does happen. That has happened. UK fights would commonly go at like 4 a.m, so they could match American pay-per-view times.
I remember they used to do outdoor fights in Vegas that were during the day too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big boxing fights in the parking lot. But it's funny. To your point, Leon Edwards, that was actually what happened when he lost his title to Bilal Muhammad. And he blamed it on that time change. He's also from England. So like this should have been a hometown advantage for you. But yeah, it is a real thing.
That's interesting. That was a very interesting update you gave us on
I love it when MMA is flying. Makes it a lot of fun.
The gentleman who was 9 years away, how old is he coming back?
Oh, Kyoji Horiguchi, he's got, let me check. He's 35.
Okay. So how late, like there's no George Foreman in this, is there?
Well, heavyweight, you can generally go a lot longer. You can definitely, like in some of those divisions that are the lower weight classes, like flyweight, featherweight, bantamweight, where fast twitch is a little bit more, you rely on it more heavily. You can't go quite as late in those weight classes, but in the older weight classes, you can go a little bit longer for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
People are asking Josh if Holman's Rink won today.
I have the answer. You want to give it, Josh?
Well, what if people are listening and don't want to have it ruined? Maybe they're taping it.
I don't know. Because here's the thing. if they don't want to ruin it, it's going to be in the update in about 2 minutes regardless.
Okay. All right.
I actually don't know. She won, though, yeah?
She did. She beat Sturmay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I was watching that. By the way, co-worker's cousin, Sturmay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
12-5.
And
12-5?
12-5.
I missed the end of that game.
Gonna win right here. She's got the hammer with 2 rocks left.
Yeah, but Laz is in a good position. She's shot 1 and 3.
We're gonna have Jackie Ray on to do the every once in a while during the Scotties and during the Briar and the Worlds. She's going to come by and she's going to be on our show.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, she told me.
Huge.
Yeah, and she doesn't lie about things like that.
All right.
About things like that.
She lies about a lot of other things.
Notice the emphasis change?
Yeah.
Just to be a jerk. All right. Jason Krueger is on the way. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. We're back tomorrow with Daniel Nugent-Bowman.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Loca Quality Market. Your fridge just got an upgrade. Over 200 chef-prepared gourmet meals waiting in Loca Quality Market. Shop local at loca.ca. That's LOCA.ca. Curling results from earlier for the men's in the Canadian curling trials. It was Lushu, Dunstone, Cui, and Jacobs all getting the wins. Homan also beating Sturmay and Black beating Brown in the women's draw. Currently, Einerson leads Laws 6-4 in the 10th end. News from the Edmonton Oilers practice. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was skating with the main group, rotating in with Savoy on McDavid's line, but is, quote, unsure if he will play tomorrow. Captain also skating and rotating in, but will not play tomorrow, nor will Jake Wallman, all courtesy of Jason Krueger. In the NHL, we have games starting at 5 p.m. today. Flyers and Lightning, Red Wings and Devils, Blues and Rangers, and Blue Jackets at Washington. That's all at 5. The late game tonight, we'll see the Sens in LA taking on the Kings at 7. NBA action, we'll see the Toronto Raptors play host to the Cleveland Cavaliers at 5. The late game today in the association, we'll see Minnesota and Sacramento at 8, Utah and Golden State at that same time. And in the NFL, Monday Night Football, the final game of Week 12, as Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers head west to San Francisco to take on Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers. On behalf of Josh Fenwick and Lowetide, I'm Declan Krueger. Up next is the Jason Krueger Show with Connor Halley, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.